Hello and welcome to the second part of our interview with Ian Ailes, the Chief Executive Mainstream for Thomas Cook UK and Ireland. And with this next session we'd like to talk a little bit about the future of Thomas Cook and where we go from here after the announcements of the past few days. And looking ahead to the next couple of years, we know that the £200 million headroom has now been agreed by the banks, which has given some more confidence back into the business. But we also know that this only lasts until April 2013. What's going to happen then? Is this all going to kick off once again?
No, I'd say absolutely not, Dan. I'd say we've put these facilities in place for that period of time. But we're looking at, and it's been very publicly reported, we're looking at disposing of what we call non-core assets. So for instance, we have a shareholding in Nats, and we have some shareholdings in some hotels. And those are things that we think we should do to just get the business a bit more focused and therefore move on from this current banking facility. So absolutely, I feel very comfortable and secure through the period of 2000 to 2013, but we're making all the right steps and the right decisions, so that we're in a different place by the time that banking facility expires.
What happens if, say, next week there's another ash cloud? Could you afford that?
Absolutely, yeah, and I guess we all know that in travel things happen. And yeah, whether it be ash clouds, whether it be events in Egypt, whether it be events with just snow, things happen, and we feel very comfortable with the facility that we have got. We're strong and secure and able to withstand things that the world brings us. Cook's, I think, has always demonstrated a great operational resilience going through things like the ash cloud, going through things like Egypt. So yeah, we'd look at, we're very strong on that side of the business.
But looking ahead to 2012, we know the Olympics are coming, and we know that although Thomas Cook's a sponsor, that's really going to confuse the situation. Is Thomas Cook right to be so confident about the next couple of years now?
Perhaps I should tell everyone that I'm an accountant, so I do look at the glass is sometimes only half full, not half empty. I think 2012 will be a tough year for the UK economy. I think it will be a tough year for UK consumers. Yeah, we're taking the appropriate action in Thomas Cook. What I would say is, if you've got the right product selling at the right price with fantastic support from retailers across the land, I think you're in a good position. We've also been pretty open to both the travel trade and to the wider city that we're looking at a transformation of our UK business that perhaps has been underperforming historically, and therefore we're trying to put the pillars in place to have a stronger UK business over the next 1, 2 and 3 years.
So we've heard a lot, particularly in the past few days, about the overwhelming support for Cook from the trade, about how consumers view this iconic British brand. So how did it get to this mess that we've been hearing about over the past few days? Was that all down to the previous management team?
I'd almost, I'm relatively new back into Thomas Cook, so I take it on face value. And I say that there are lots of opportunities for Thomas Cook going forward. I think there are some areas where perhaps we fell behind the competition that we really need to address, so that we need to be getting the right product in the right place at the right time.
Such as? What sort of areas?
Everyone talks about differentiated product. Differentiated product means something that's got a clear, different USP, something that customers really want. And Cooks were perhaps a bit slow investing in those areas. So that's an area we definitely look to invest in. We are investing in our internet presence, and that needs to be complementary to our high street presence. And we need to get our high street presence absolutely bang on.
Okay, going back to online, shouldn't that have been done 10 years ago, all this investment online?
Well, it's interesting, if you look at the history of Thomas Cook, and Thomas Cook was very much a pioneer throughout the last 170 years. Yeah. Cooks were very early into e-commerce, in fact almost so early that people didn't notice. Yeah. And that perhaps what we're doing now is that we were invested early, slowed down a bit, and now we just need to refocus and come up with something that's really appealing for the customer.
Okay, so management lost a bit of focus on the online front in the past few years?
I think, yeah, what we're trying to bring to cooks looking forward is focus on what's important. So you can do loads of things, but actually let's try and focus on, almost go back to basics, focus on the basics, a good customer proposition backed by good customer product, and then good execution and delivery.
Okay, I know you're reluctant to talk too much about the previous management, but there's another way that some of this money could be sort of clawed back, isn't there, by going back to Mr. Fontaine-Lenovoa, the previous chief executive. Do you think that's an action that Thomas Cook should be pursuing?
I think that it would be unfair for me to comment on that. That's very much part of the PLC debate, the corporate. As you know, I sit here and run the UK business.
Yes, okay, spoken like a true politician, as well as an accountant. Or more of a politician than an accountant, perhaps, that answer. Fair enough. Okay, so where we are today, how important is it that a new chief executive is brought in now?
I'm working with a guy called Sam Vijhagen, who you'll read about in the press because he's written the letter to the open letter, but you'll have probably seen him on TV. Perhaps reluctant media star from Sweden. He's done a really good job in the last 3 to 4 months. Yes, his title is, he's Group Chief Executive at the moment. He's running a good business, getting us focused back to basics. He has loads of experience of running Northern Europe, that's Scandinavia. Ultimately, yes, he's looking to retire, and we're looking to bring in a new chief executive, but he's doing a very good job. So there's no rush to bring in a new group chief executive, and we need to get the right person that's right for Thomas Cook. There's lots of opportunities and challenges for Thomas Cook. We need to get the right group chief executive. Okay,
but it's hard to believe that a new chief executive, will want to come in and implement someone else's strategy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that a new group chief executive will always look to help drive the strategy. Yeah, it's been widely speculated where we are in that recruitment process. But as I say, I would say, let's not rush it. Let's get the right person, who's really focused and really in tune with driving Thomas Cook for the next 170 years.
Yeah. But we can't say how close you are to making that appointment at the moment.
I wouldn't know, even if I could say it.
Yeah. Who would you like to see in the job?
I couldn't possibly comment about that.
Okay, perhaps we'll edit that bit out. Moving on, you spoke there a little bit about the balance between online and high street sales. It's a constant question, and it's been constant in the national media over the past few days. Is the travel agent dead? Is the package holiday on its way out? What's your response to that?
I think there needs to be a real balance of distribution between travel agents, call centres, online, even mobile devices going forward. Travel agents have a hugely strong place in the buying decision of consumers, and we see consumers who might use all 4 channels before they buy, particularly when it's people's biggest expense in the year. The reassurance of interacting with a strong, knowledgeable travel agent, I think, is almost irreplaceable. So we see the travel agent as being a core plank of our distribution strategy going forward. Okay,
but you are making closures in the high street network, and there sounds like there's going to be more than the 75 that were originally flagged up when the Cook co-op merger was announced.
I think what I would say is there's been some unfortunate speculation about a number of closures within the Cook co-op network. You're absolutely right. Any retailer, whether they be in travel or in clothes or in food, goes through a period when you might close some stores and open some stores. I think because the merger of Thomas Cook and Co-op took such a long time, I think it took 18 months from when it was first thought about to when it's been executed. Both organisations have been slightly on hold, and what we need to do is to almost have what I call a positive cycle of opening some shops and also perhaps closing shops where there's duplication or where high streets are moved. I think people understand that process. When we're such a big retailer, we've got 1,300 shops across the network, and that there should always be a positive cycle of being in the right place for the consumer.
Okay, well, I understand that, but there must be a lot of nervousness in the Thomas Cook shops at the moment, particularly with the numbers of shop closures. I think that the papers are speculating on 200 shop closures. Is there anything you can do to allay the employees' fears to what's going on at the moment?
We're working through a process between the co-op shops and the Cook shops. We've only actually, because of the way that the merger worked, we've only actually seen the data from the co-op shops in the last 45 to 50 days.
Right.
So, yeah, we're working very hard and very fast to assimilate and understand that. I do absolutely understand that it creates some uncertainty, and particularly when it's speculated about more widely. You're right, you talked about 75 shops being sort of announced almost a year and a half ago. So what I can say to all of the teams in the co-op shops and the Cook shops is that they'll be the first to know when we make the decision, and we are working hard to make some decisions, and we anticipate doing that within the next few months.
Okay. So we'll follow that with interest, as I'm sure will the rest of the trade. And just going back to the package holiday, is the package holiday dead? Will the restructure at Thomas Cook include the same commitment to package holidays across the group that it has today?
I think it would be hard to call the package holiday dead. We sell 4 million package holidays. Our competitors sell that much, if not more. Our business across Europe is founded on the package holiday. It's hugely successful. Customers see and understand the value, they buy into it. What we see within Cooks and what we're working at right now is almost just going back to basics a bit. Perhaps some of the disciplines of being a fantastic retailer, of being a great tour operator, have perhaps been a bit submerged by a number of different priorities. So we're going back to basics. We absolutely see that we'll be a focused tour operator selling package holidays, and we see customer demand for that.
So the restructure, beyond the disposals you spoke about earlier, is there anything else you can tell us about what form that will take?
We're continuing to look at product differentiation, that we have the right product on the shelves. In some ways, I sometimes think about myself as a supermarket. If you go into a supermarket and the right product's not on the shelves, you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So for us, it's all about getting the right product on the shelves. We've announced some changes in the airline, which we announced back in September, and we'll continue through with those. We'll continue to, we've brought a couple of key people in, Neil Morris in as Chief Commercial Officer, to help strengthen our management teams. And we'll be looking to regain our strength that Thomas Cook has always had.
Excellent. Okay. Just before we conclude, you came back to Thomas Cook in the beginning of the year, wasn't it, in January 2011?
That's right.
Did you expect to come back to all this? Did you expect to be sat here with me, with other journalists, talking about this kind of thing in November?
When I was talking about coming back to Thomas Cook, I fully understood that there was a degree of a turnaround needed in the UK. I probably underestimated, and perhaps the organisation itself underestimated, the amount of a turnaround that we had to undertake. I think it's a great opportunity. I'm delighted to be within Thomas Cook. And I think we're starting to make some really positive steps forward. So to my mind, 2012, we're starting to really show effectively the city, the trade, that Thomas Cook's going to be a strong company, and a strong company looking forward.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm sure Thomas Cook himself would probably be pleased to hear that from you if he was here today. Obviously, we know last week he would have been 203 on the day that all this came out if he'd still been around. What do you think that Thomas Cook would have to say about the state of the business in 2011 if he was here with us today?
I think at one level he'd have been delighted that Thomas Cook is such an icon that everyone was talking about it last week. If you think about it, every media outlet, everywhere you went, we were being talked about.
Any news is good news.
So it's a universal business. He would have been delighted that we operate across all of Europe, and I think we operate in 22 countries with 31,000 employees. All that from one excursion between Leicester and Loughborough, and he would see a positive future for the company.
Great. Well, I hope that that everyone watching the video can see a positive future for Thomas Cook as well, because I think we're all agreed that a strong Thomas Cook is important for the strength of the UK travel industry. So at that point, can I just thank Ian for joining us today?
Thank you very much.
And do keep watching and keep logging on to TTG to keep up with the Thomas Cook story as it continues to unfold. Thank you.